We welcome you into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, and once again, a goonless Goon and Ironhead show. Chris Bucanani, kind enough to join us today. You're maybe wondering why we're not at Quaker Steak and Lube. We were wondering that a little bit. Power outage down there. Man, you just never know. Power outage, they're telling the folks there that the power will not be restored until 4:30 at the earliest, and that's not going to work so well for us. So we're doing it from our homes for today. Again, Goon is enjoying a Super Bowl vacay as he does every year at this time. Living the good life is the Goon, and we know that he's having a good time, so we don't even need to wish him anything.
Not quite as much good life as normal, though, this year,
True.
I'm guessing, Ironhead.
No, that is true. Not
A little subdued compared to last year, I'm guessing.
That is for sure.
Very subdued compared to this very date three years ago. I can guarantee you that.
No question.
How much can change in 3 years' time?
I tell you, it's amazing how quickly it can change in just a year. And I kind of want to start on that theme. First of all, a huge thank you to Quaker Steak and Lube for being our normal host and for supporting us from the inception of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Our thanks, obviously, to Lion Country Kia, our title sponsor, as well, and to the good folks at Blaze Alexander as well. But did want to I was just thinking about it. It's coming up on a year since everything went to hell in a handbasket here, and just how different the sports world and obviously the entire world is. And it's been interesting because talking to a couple different people with different perspectives on things in the last couple of days, I'm not sure whatever normal is. I'm not sure how quickly we actually get back there. I've been kind of presuming that the upcoming football season, meaning the 2021 fall for both college and the NFL, will be back to normal, meaning we'll have full stadiums and all of that again. And I'm not so sure with all of the various strains and all of the various issues that are now confronting us. I'm not sure that's going to be the case. Obviously, I think that's what everybody is hoping for, that certainly by the end of the upcoming summer, we have enough folks vaccinated and have enough of a handle on all of the different strains and everything else that, again, we get to whatever the new normal is, and that we at least are allowed to have our sports with fans in the stands and hopefully at close to full capacity anyway.
Well, look, before you even get to the summer and the fall, Ironhead, just to take a Penn State specific angle on it. Yes, if we fill Beaver Stadium, that'll be back to normal for us. But the odds that it's going to be back to normal for James Franklin and the team, I think, are looking pretty low. One of the things that really concerns me from the perspective of Penn State football is that I think there is zero question in my mind that not being able to have a normal offseason really dramatically impacted the offense, especially early on. Because what did we see? We brought in a new offensive coordinator. The offense looked out of sync. And Sean Clifford looked to me like he obviously missed having the influence of a quarterback's coach in the offseason between his first and second year as a starter. And now we're going to repeat that same process over again with a new offensive coordinator, new quarterback's coach, and it looks like it's going to be another zany offseason. And I don't know, did you get a chance to see when Mike Yursich talked to the media earlier this week?
I did.
Did you catch his answer to the question about what it was like for him last year as a first-time, or not a first-time, but a new offensive coordinator at Texas and all the problems he had with missed reps during the offseason? I mean, I think it was an honest answer, but it's not one that filled me with a whole lot of optimism. I'll say that.
Yeah, although I will say, I think it's like anything else, and again, glass half full guy here, weighing in. But everybody, right? Penn State now has gone through that. The players have gone through that with the new offensive coordinator, and Yursich has gone through it. It's still not going to be the same, and not as good, obviously, as if you were in person and going through all of the normal reps that you would be getting. And I don't think there's any chance here in the spring that that's going to happen with any degree of normalcy. But you do hope that both Jurisic and the players here that went through it learn something, right? And
Yeah.
maybe can apply, okay, well, we know this is going to be a problem area. Let's make sure we button down this component. Not to
And I think
say
it'll be better on a relative scale. Like last year, if you
that's a
remember,
good way
they
to
got
put it.
essentially they got nothing, essentially. And
Yeah.
so now they've at least had the experience of going through that truncated August summer ball to get ready for the shortened Big Ten season. So even if they just use that as a model and do something to let these guys get on the field, let the coaches be hands-on with them during the spring, any kind of face-to-face instruction as far as installing the offense and Jurisic working directly with the quarterbacks, I think is going to be absolutely critical because as you're going to hear us say probably a million times between now and kickoff, the early season schedule is absolutely brutal. We're going to know about that team real quick next year.
No question about that. And I guess that's part of it too, right? Is how quickly, again, I don't think any chance of, the next couple of months we're going to be back to, hey, everybody can do whatever they want. But I do think there's a pretty good chance, right, by the summer that these guys, and I get that it's not quite the same as having that full spring practice and everything, but getting these guys to, hey, most of these players anymore are staying on campus over the summer, and there's at least interaction. I realize it's limited, and I get the NCAA rules before anybody weighs in. I understand they're not going to be having the practices as a team, but it is different when you're able to see your teammates in person. You can go work out as a team, as a group, and then obviously if but if you can have the spring practices as they would normally be, I think that obviously also is a big part of the equation here for Penn State, trying to have a more effective, shall we say, offense in 2021 than what we saw in 2020.
More cohesive.
Well, the other problem, though, Chris, is you do have a lot of moving parts once again. And so even with lessons learned, right, you're going to have enough new faces that won't have had the experience of last year and going through everything that they did. And, you're going to have some, a significant group of players that are getting acclimated to Penn State, even though they've been college football players elsewhere previously. So, how all of that meshes, I think, again, is anybody's guess. I think I was watching the Big Ten coverage of the National Signing Day, and a couple things that are just interesting to me. Ohio State obviously isn't going anywhere. My hopes that when Urban Meyer left, you would see a decline and an opportunity there for Penn State to seize the moment. That did not pan out so well.
Kind of the opposite, actually. If you track their recruiting, it's gone in the direction we would not like, which is up. It's better. It's crazy.
It is amazing. What was it? I don't want to exaggerate, but I think it was it 7 5-star recruits that they had? They have the second most 5-star recruits in the country, and by far the most in the Big Ten. I want to say, I might be off on that. I should have jotted it down, but I think it's 7 5-star recruits, which are generally considered as close to the can't miss candidates as you can have coming out of high school. So. And Penn State, so Ohio State's class is ranked second in the country, tops in the Big Ten again. I think Penn State's was 5th or 6th in the Big Ten and 21st in the country. And again, it's a smaller class. It does seem like it's a quality class. It's just a smaller group of individuals. And with what Penn State has coming back and with the transfers coming in, I don't know that that's all that great of a concern. Except that I do think the onus now on this upcoming season, 2021, being successful, however, and to me, probably successful as being at least 9-3, probably 10-2 again, or get 9-3 and a win in a bowl game, getting to that 10-win mark, to kind of keep Penn State there with the big name recruits, right? I mean, it feels like you can't have an 0-4 start here, or 0-5 start in 2021, and think that the gravy train is going to keep rolling your way on the recruiting front. So I do think it puts some more pressure to get wins and to remain relevant here in the upcoming season. But I don't know that, again, in terms of the impact of having the 21st ranked class on the immediate future is all that significant. I just think next year, again, it has to be a big year, in particular on the recruiting front. But I think the way you get there is to have a big year on the field as well.
Yeah, real quick, credit where it's due. We had Ryan Snyder from bwi.rivals.com or rivals.bwi.com, one of those two. I should have known that, like you should have known the number of 5-star guys, which, by the way, I looked up 5 composite 5-star guys, according to 247. I think, again, you go to different services, you get different ratings. Like they've got Kyle McCord, the quarterback, as a composite 4-star, but he's been a 5-star for some ratings. So I think as many as 5, as few as 5, or many as 7, as few as 5.
Yeah.
The big deal is it's 5 to 7 more than Penn State's got in its class. But Ryan made the point, and I think it's a really important one for Penn State fans to key in on. Only with the late signing here of the defensive end on second National Signing Day, 16 guys in this class, one of whom, by the way, is a place kicker. Now, one of the best place kickers in the country. And, you can think back not too far in Penn State football history and see why you want to have a top-notch kicker on your roster. But if you recruit a kicker and make him a scholarship guy, because of the way those class rankings are calculated, that hurts you. If you have fewer bodies in your recruiting class, and this is a very small class for Penn State, that hurts you. So when you look at the average star ranking of the players in Penn State's class, they're right up there with the big boys. It's just numerically because of the way the formula and the calculation works. This wasn't a terrific recruiting year for Penn State, but it's not as bad as the 21st ranked class in the country makes it sound.
Yeah.
And it's also important to remember that the scholarships that did not go to players who will be freshmen next year coming out of high school have been largely used to offer guys out of the transfer portal who we feel most of them are going to come in and make an immediate impact on next year's team, maybe more than some freshman recruits would have. So again, not great, not a reason to push the panic button. And if you look at early returns on the 2022 class, second ranked in the nation right now, and maybe a potential with a few more commitments, you can kind of feel good about for that thing to really pop. So yeah, I am definitely not panicking about the state of football recruiting right now.
Yeah. That being said, again, Ohio State is going to be difficult for anybody to chase down. I mean, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, they're not going anywhere anytime soon, except for right where they've been, which is
And you know what? Look, if you're a Penn State fan, frankly, I'm not telling you to give up, but just relax, man. Just sit back and enjoy the journey. If college football and the playoffs taught you anything this year, it's that most of the teams in the country are not playing the same sport as the top 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Ohio State looks orders of magnitude better than Penn State in terms of talent and probably coaching, frankly, top to bottom. And they barely looked like they belonged on the field with Alabama in the national championship game.
Yeah.
So just sit back and enjoy the run. And if we can get 10 or 11 wins next year, that's a damn good season. Be happy with it, and we'll keep building. By the way, we got a question real quick, Ironhead. Our percentage guess on the chance that there's going to be a blue-white game. I think the chance that there is a traditional blue-white game with, let's say, 50% plus capacity in Beaver Stadium, I think that's a 10% chance.
I think
with fewer than 5,000 fans, I will say a 65% chance, and I think there's like an 80% chance we'll see a game played in an empty stadium that is televised on the Big Ten network, and all the schools end up doing that just so they can get some kind of a, modest media revenue opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I would put it at even less. I think there's maybe 1 or 2% chance in terms of fans being allowed as your
Optimism, Ironhead. It's February 4th. Let's yeah, you're right. I mean, it's absolutely nuts to peg it at a 1 in 10 chance. But it's February 4th. It's the 3rd anniversary of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. Anything is possible. Okay.
I hear you, and I would love to see it. Obviously, I'm rooting for that. I do think it's likely, although I don't know that I think it's as likely as you that there will be even a game, just with the protocols that Penn State has in place right now. Again, you basically are going to have to get there with a significant portion of each of your position rooms testing free for 2 weeks prior to whatever scheduled event there would be.
Yeah.
And it's certainly possible, and obviously that's what you're hoping for. I mean, I think they will schedule a blue-white game, whether or not we actually get a chance to see it and have it played out.
Sure.
But I'm guessing there won't be any fans if in fact there is a game that is played this year. Can't believe I never can believe anybody gets me to do math, and it usually ends poorly. So
it caused me great discomfort. I'm sure you could almost literally see the wheels turning in my head.
I don't even have my calculator, and even with a calculator, I have less than a 50-50 chance of getting any equation right. A couple of other things heading into the well, actually, let me just backtrack real quick on Penn State wrestling, because I've had a few folks reach out to me today asking if there will be an event scheduled this weekend. There were attempts. I never say never, but I suspect we would have heard by this afternoon. There's a couple of issues at play. Rutgers and Michigan State are the two schools that Penn State had dual meets with that have been postponed. Both of those teams are participating in a quad meet and against each other, and then two other teams. So that is a factor that neither of those schools are going to be able to reschedule Penn State for this weekend.
Right.
I thought there might be a chance to get in on. There are a couple of individual dual meets, and I thought maybe Penn State with teams that were not on Penn State's schedule. I thought maybe Penn State could get in and make those a try meet. There are some logistical issues there, and there's obviously expense issues. Penn State just had a little added expense on its last trip out to Evanston, and then obviously going on to Madison and getting back. So my strong suspicion is you will not see a Penn State wrestling meet this weekend, and the next opportunity to see the Nittany Lions will be against the top-ranked Hawkeyes on February 12th in what will be a barn burner of a home opener, even though it will be a home opener without fans, at least very many of them, at Rec Hall. But boy, that
what a shame. There are only going to be limited opportunities to see these two teams meet up, and we have already lost so many of them.
Yeah.
And even fewer still are going to be able to be, really what they should be with a fan experience. It stinks.
It does. Because this is one of those that obviously would have the place rocking and would have, well, it's still going to have people talking and fired up and excited about it. But, and, we'll see. Penn State, I thought Michael Beard looked very good in his debut, better than I was expecting, quite frankly, coming off the injury. He just looked sharp. I would urge fans. I've had a couple of people reach out. What's wrong with Carter Starachi? A couple of things. One is I think, and listen, I'm not in the room, so I do not know this, and nobody has told me this. So let me be clear about that. But I do know he is one of those guys and I'll just go back. There's been a couple that they've had. Jason Nolf was one. Nico Megaludis was one. That in their freshman seasons, and in the case of Jason, it was while redshirting, but Nico was competing. And what was happening is and listen, this coaching staff has this thing down to an exact science in terms of, listen, we want you wrestling, and I'm making up the numbers here, obviously, but we want you wrestling 2 hours live hard on Monday. We want you drilling an hour and a half on Tuesday. We want you lifting and doing whatever on Wednesday. I mean, but they have it down to exactly what they want, including, listen, this is what we want you eating, the number of carbs and the number, the type of food that we want you on different days of the week. And I'm not telling you that everybody is following this to a T, but they really do have down, all right, this is the sleep cycle we want. This is the practice schedule and everything else. And what you have sometimes are these guys that are driven, which obviously you want, but especially in that early season, it's like, man, well, if doing those 100 push-ups in practice is going to help me, doing 100 more at home, man, that's really going to help me. And again, when you're peaking, these mini peaks for the competitions during the season, and then, you're having different cycles and different peaks during the year, and obviously you're hoping to peak ultimately at the NCAA tournament. But along the way, my suspicion is that Carter Starachi overtrained a little bit in the week or a couple of weeks leading up to the beginning of the season. He is going to be fine. I'm just telling you, watch how this thing plays out. I don't know that he wins a national title here as a redshirt freshman, but he's going to be fine. He's going to be up there among the top contenders. And I think we'll get a real indication of just where he's at, obviously, when he wrestles Michael Kemmerer of Iowa here on February 12th, because Kemmerer is rightfully number one in the country, and I think is going to be very difficult for anybody to beat. But I do think Carter's game is one that can give Michael a real run here this season. So I think he'll be fine. I think, again, Beard looked very good. Joe Lee, I think, has looked better than I was expecting, again, right out of the gate here. So, the two big questions right now are 125 and, what I've been saying about Robbie Howard is I do think he's the long-term answer. I would caution folks on reading too much into what he is able to accomplish or not accomplish here this season. He's coming off an injury, and he's a true freshman. And I'm just telling you, watching these guys over the course of since Cale's been here and even well before that, even the phenoms. David Taylor came in here, and it took him a good 3 months to really kind of figure some things out. And, Kyler Sanderson, who was a terrific wrestler in his own right, but Kyler was beating him pretty handily that first month or two. And by the time February rolled around, David had significantly surpassed him. And so you see with any of these guys, right, pretty significant progress during the course of a freshman season. That's when you have a healthy individual and you have all of the time that you normally have and you have the matches that you have to make the adjustments off of. Robbie Howard is basically going to try to compress 6 months into one. And I just think, again, I think his talent is such that he will have a successful college career. I don't know if we're talking multiple national titles or multiple All-America honors, but I think he's going to have a good career. He's going to win a lot more than he loses, and he's going to have some All-America accolades, multiple at the very least, to show for it. But I just caution people on, well, he's not lighting the world on fire here in the 1 month he wrestled as a true freshman, so he must be a bust. Because I think anything he does this season, truthfully, is gravy. Again, he's got tremendous talent. I'm not ruling out the possibility of him getting on the podium in a very tough weight class this year. I just think he's really up against it because of the injury and because of the season and the situation we're in. Even with the month, right, normally you'd be getting 8 or 9 bouts in that month before the Big Ten tournament. Usually,
yeah, right.
Scheduled at least 7 dual meets in that month of February, or from late January through February. At best right now, it's looking like he'd be able to get 5 matches in, and
Right.
that's kind of probably best case scenario. That's a very tall order. I don't care how talented you are. That's a really tough thing to ask of him. So, and I do think he'll be the starter in the postseason. Baylor Shunk is a terrific wrestler in his own right and has really made some terrific strides. And I think we may see him in a dual meet or two here yet. But my guess is Robbie Howard will be the postseason wrestler. And again, I certainly don't rule out the possibility of him doing something and scoring some points in the postseason. I just think it's not reasonable to go in with that expectation to me of him because of the circumstances. And then the other question I keep getting is Greg Kirkleet and what his status is. And he just hasn't been medically cleared yet. I will tell you that it's not a guarantee that he'll be good to go by the postseason, but they are expecting it. I'll put it that way, that the anticipation is that he will be there for the Big Ten and NCAAs. I've also had a couple of people ask me about Kirkleet and whether or not he can qualify for nationals if he doesn't have any dual meets or have the 4 meets before the Big Ten tournament. And yeah, any season, any wrestler doesn't have to compete at all during the regular season, and you can qualify for the Big Ten tournament. What happens is the conference gets automatic qualifiers based on the performance of wrestlers throughout the season. So it's likely that Seth Neville's, it's almost a certainty that Seth Neville's is going to earn a spot for the Big Ten at heavyweight. I was looking at it the other day. My guess is you're going to have 7 or 8 automatic bids at heavyweight. Let me back up and say, if we go with a 32-man field, which I don't know, or 33-man field, which I don't know if that may change or not. No final decision has been made. But if we're going with the normal 33-man field, I think it's likely that the Big Ten gets at least 8 qualifiers automatically. And so what that means is Greg Kirkleet would just need to finish in the top 8 or 7 or 9, whatever the automatic qualifiers for the tournament is. And then he automatically goes in. Where it could hurt you, and I don't think it's a situation that Kirkleet would have to worry about, but if you didn't get the automatic qualifying, then there's virtually no chance for you to get a wild card bid, because there's nothing there to base a wild card bid on from the regular season. But as long as you earn one of the automatic spots at the Big Ten tournament, again, you could, in theory, have 10 wrestlers, none of whom have wrestled during the regular season, all go compete at the Big Ten, and you could have all 10 qualify automatically for the NCAAs. So, again, no guarantees here, but I think they are very hopeful that Kirkleet will be ready to go by Big Tens, obviously hoping before that, so he gets a match or 2 under his belt anyway before the conference tournament. But the Iowa dual meet, I think, is just going to be a fun dual meet. The 2 teams, you can go up and down that lineup, and we'll talk about it more next week. But I think there's probably, I would say, at least 5 matches that would not be surprising if they went either way. And obviously, if sweeps those 5 kind of toss-up bouts, that you're going to be in really good shape, and that could happen. And if you lose all 5, or win or lose 4 of those 5, it's going to be a tall order for either team to come out on top. Iowa probably has a couple more matches where they'll be notably favored than Penn State. But again, I really think this is kind of a toss-up dual meet with a lot of really intriguing bouts, and I just think it's going to be fun.
That's what you like to see. Just to circle back to where you started, Ironhead, if another opportunity like this weekend presents itself before the end of the season, can you infer anything from the fact that we were not able to put together a match at the last minute this time around to say that's what you can expect for the rest of the year? Was it just a matter of circumstances, or are we basically looking at what's on the schedule for the remainder of the regular season.
Yeah, my guess is they'll get one more meet in there than what's currently on the schedule.
Okay.
One way or another. Just with it, there's enough weekends there where teams, including Penn State, only have one dual meet scheduled, and so it may involve moving some things around just a little bit, but where you have just a Sunday scheduled now, or like Penn State has in the upcoming weekend, just a Friday scheduled, you'll see, okay, yep, we're going to do either Friday or Sunday as well.
Yeah.
The logistics part of it and the cost part of it is figuring out, okay, where can you do this? And, you obviously have to work out the facilities and everything else with the.
Well, I don't know if you heard, we only lost $25 million last year. Ironhead, only $25 million.
Yeah. Thank goodness it wasn't a significant hit.
Right. I was afraid it was going to be a lot of money when all this started. I was afraid the athletic department would lose a lot of money, but fortunately, it was only 25 mil.
Yeah, I did see somebody weighing in there with Go Tampa Bay for the Super Bowl 55 here. I will say, I've been saying I'm not passionate either way, but with Chris Godwin, and then after our conversation with AQ on Tuesday, I will have to admit, now that Andy Reid has his Super Bowl ring, and the Chiefs, again, I don't have strong feelings for or against either of these teams or fan bases or anything like that. But the Penn State lean in me, I guess, is kind of pulling for the Buccaneers now.
Look, first of all, I'm just going to come out and say this, and if it makes me sound petty, it won't be the first or last time. I was all about Andy getting the ring last year. I've never had a bad word to say about Andy Reid. I do think that played itself to its conclusion in Philadelphia. I think it was time for both organization and coach to go their separate ways. And I think Andy learned a lot from his time in Philly.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, a lot of the same old tendencies were there for years in Kansas City. And if they don't draft Patrick Mahomes, I'm not sure we're sitting here talking about Super Bowl champion Andy Reid. He was a great coach in Philadelphia. He's a great coach in Kansas City. And now he's paired with a generational quarterback. But now that's it, man. Okay. Like until Philly gets another ring, absolutely no more for Andy Reid. I will also say this. Always great when either way the Super Bowl ends up, at least one Nittany Lion's going to get a ring.
Yes.
And, look, good on Steph Wisniewski. Again, I'll remind you, his first ring, Ironhead, came 3 years ago on this date when the Eagles won Super Bowl 52.
It did.
But you got two now, man, like Donovan Smith and AQ, who's in his last year, and Chris Godwin. They're all looking for their first. Yeah. So if you got to tilt it one way or another, even if it means Tom Brady gets another ring, I'm kind of with you. Like, I guess there's a little part of me that's like, yeah, let's get those three Nittany Lions their Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, and I will tell you.
Also makes Bill Belichick look bad. Another added bonus.
That is a big bonus. That's a significant bonus to me. And I will say, I do like Bruce Arians, and the Steelers connection, the Temple connection, the whole bit is all plays in his favor. And again, I like Andy Reid too. But
how about Tampa Bay? Perhaps the worst, most nondescript sports city in the US of A, placing three teams in the championship round and a chance to win two of them. Unbelievable. Could there be a less deserving, less appreciative group of sports fans than Tampa Bay? Unbelievable. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Meanwhile, the poor saps in Buffalo and Cleveland can't catch a break.
The folks in Buffalo and Cleveland are just, and there's Tampa. Yeah,
Tampa freaking bad. No one's from Tampa. No one is from Tampa. It's unbelievable.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that any Florida team, professional sports team, deserves to have a consistent championship. Miami's just. I can't support the city of Miami.
Bad sports fans. I will say this. I know some long-suffering Dolphins fans. Absolutely. Yeah. By the way, low key, the most fatalistic sports fans on earth. You think Philly fans are bad? You think Cleveland fans are bad? The Dolphins are so far off the radar of relevance, nobody even cares how fatalistic their fans are. That's how fatalistic they are. That's why they're fatalistic. So, yeah, I mean, a long time, all the way back to, dating back to the early Don Shula or like 1970s or pre-1970s Dolphins days. Okay, great. And look, at this point, there must be a few of them out there. If you are someone who has literally been a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, more power to you. If Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer take that team to the promised land, like those people, all 5 of them, probably earned every ounce of enjoyment they're going to get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Jacksonville fans exist.
There's got to be a few, right? There's that one guy who's the meme. I mean, there's got to be just a few. A dozen, maybe.
It's like the horses.
Look at me doing more math.
It's like the people that put the little cardboard horns on the horses for unicorns. I feel like there's not real Jacksonville. They might say and they might pretend, but come on. Nobody's a Jaguars fan. Not really. We will take a break here. We will talk a little bit more about the Super Bowl and some of the bets that you could make. It is amazing what all between the commercials and the side bets and the halftime show and the pregame show. What we find to amuse ourselves here as Americans is also fascinating. But I do think it's going to be a good game as well. But we'll talk more about the big game. We're not advertising, so we can actually say Super Bowl. But
Right.
We'll talk about it more as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show right after this.
Super Bowl, Super Bowl.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Introducing the new dusted Ghost Pepper at Quaker Steak and Lube. 11,700 SHUs of fire dusted on award-winning wings. Try it, or are you afraid of the heat?
Who wants to turn $20 into $500? Support our local restaurants this holiday season. Eat in or dine out, from French fries to lobster. Bring us your receipt and we'll take $500 off your final price. Here's how simple this is. Bring us a receipt, buy a car from us in the month of December, and we'll take $500 off your final price. Merry Christmas from Blaise Alexander Hyundai Mazda. Support your local restaurants and servers. And remember, tell them Johnny sent you.
And we welcome you back in, kids, to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Again, Chris Bucanati, kind enough to fill in for the beloved Goon today as we get ready for Super Bowl 55. And I had somebody, I don't know if you were a big, The Wonder Years is still my all-time favorite TV show. It's a
good
one.
one,
A lot of great
for sure.
shows out there. And I love a lot of them, but The Wonder Years is just my all-time favorite. And Horace, who actually from Pittsburgh, who checked in earlier, making us do math today, texted me earlier in the week. The Wonder Years, it had been 33 years to the day from when it had debuted.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
And the show, so it debuted in 1988, and it was set in 1968. So that a similar show today, and the thing I loved about that show was, man, you got to look back at what it must have been like in the old days, and that was part of the appeal and the charm, was you were able to look back at the history all the way back 20 years ago in 1968. If you were doing that same show today, the show would be set in 2001. 2001.
And think about this. Think about this, Ironhead. Who won the Super Bowl in 2001?
Who did win the Super Bowl in 2001?
Tom Brady and the New England Patriots.
Oh, that is.
So that would be like
was
if
the-
the year
gosh.
that the Wonder Years premiered, that would be like Joe Namath was playing in the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, I had not thought about that angle of it, but boy, that does put in perspective the career here of Mr. Brady.
He had been, I mean, Joe Namath had been making infomercials for what, for like a dozen years by the time the Wonder Years was on the air. I think Tom Brady's coming back next year, probably.
Yeah, that's my guess. It will be interesting to see how long he does go and how long he plays at this high a level. I mean, you wouldn't rule out another Super Bowl or two, right, for him. I mean, as we sit here right now, I'm certainly not going to sit here and tell you that it's impossible, that this is definitively going to be the last run. Because, listen, that Tampa team is, I mean, it is a good team. And
their cap's in a pretty good situation, actually. Yeah.
So, and, Tom Brady is still Tom Brady.
I don't know if you've noticed, Ironhead, but the quarterback situation over in the NFC is not super great.
How about it? Yeah, it is going to be interesting just to kind of see how these next couple of years play out. Like, does Cleveland really become the team in the AFC North? I've seen a couple of folks that are projecting that, and certainly it's within the realm of possibility. The Steelers hopefully may have one more run in them next year. I'm not all that confident about that right now. And listen, you can retool quickly, obviously, in the NFL. Depending on how some things play out. The Ravens obviously are going to be a factor again next year, and the Bengals I think are going to be very good. But right now. Cleveland probably has the most going for it in terms of looking at the next 2 or 3 years in the AFC North. I think Buffalo is going to be, I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're going to be the next Patriots and dominate that division for decades. But, boy, I don't see anybody else in that division challenging real time soon.
Buffalo is very well put together. They're going to have a lot of cap room this offseason to retool and improve building around Josh Allen. I think the big question there, Ironhead, is what happens at quarterback with all three of the other teams in the division. But for me, I'm focusing on, can Miami swing a trade for Deshaun Watson? They've got the two ingredients that I think make it pretty likely that if they want to do that, they could get it done, because that looks like a team that, with the way the rest of the roster is built, and again, what they can do cap flexibility and personnel-wise, put a winning team around Deshaun Watson. They're well coached. They've got 2 first-round picks this year, and they've got a quarterback they can put in a, package up in a trade deal. So if you're Houston and you want to move on from Watson because it just is an irreparable relationship, you can get a young guy back who everybody was excited about 12 months ago. Remember Tank for Tua?
Oh, yeah.
Now the Dolphins are talking about shipping him out. They benched him for Ryan Fitzpatrick at one point during the season, which is no knock on Fitzmagic. I'm just saying that if you're tanking for Tua, you're hoping by the time the guy takes the starting job, he's got it really by the throat. But you can send the young QB, you can package up multiple first-round picks, and then instantly you've got, a top 5, top 10 quarterback on your roster around a pretty good, well-coached team in a winnable division. And all of a sudden things don't look so rosy for Buffalo's route back to another AFC East title. So I think that's the big one to watch. What happens with Watson? Does he move, and does he end up in Miami?
Yeah. And who knows how all of that is going to play out. And listen, even, again, things can change so quickly. Unlike college football, where we pretty much know who 3 of the 4 playoff teams are going to be for the next 3 years, the NFL can change quickly. I mean, the Patriots' ongoing success for the decades notwithstanding, things change in a hurry. An injury to your franchise quarterback, getting a franchise quarterback. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot for team near the bottom to rise to the top. And
sometimes, Ironhead, you can have a guy who's playing at an MVP level, second overall pick in the draft, who looks like he's going to be a franchise cornerstone for a decade. And then 3 years later, you're trying to move him for pennies on the dollar. Who, sometimes crazy stuff can happen.
Yeah, that is the nature of the NFL. Did want to get to you had sent over some of these prop bets for the Super Bowl. It is amazing. I mean, it really is. We talk about it every year, but it is amazing what we are willing to put money down on as Americans. And
it's getting more and more legal all the time, and we've been stuck in our homes for a year. So yeah,
but it's fun to. It's also just fun looking at the. Right, part of this is that there are people that will put down money on anything, but part of it is just the fun of it. Is I want to see if this happens, and if it does, man, great! I'll be rooting for it, and I'll get a little extra money. I mean, part of it is just the fun of trying to see what all we think we might see on Sunday versus what happens.
Everybody's watching. Odds are your team is out of it. You got to make it interesting.
Let's. Do you want to go? Do you want to start on some of these, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Hit me up.
Let's start with. First of all, let me say, I truly do think, I don't know what your thoughts are on Tony Romo. I really do love his analysis. I was not a big Romo fan as a player. I think he's one of the better analysts.
Not a fan as a player, but yeah.
In the country when it comes to succinctly and accurately breaking down the game. I really think he has a tremendous talent for it.
I like him too. I like him as an announcer too. I mean, Ironhead, you and I both grew up listening to Madden, and a lot of people didn't like Madden, especially as he got older. But the one thing I loved about that guy, well, two things. First of all, even at Madden's most senile, at the end of his career, every once in a while, he would have a lucid moment and he would say something that was so smart about football. And you would say, wow, there's probably fewer than a few dozen people on the planet who could have picked out eyeballing that play like he just did what he did. So he had a knowledge of the game and he just loved it. He had an infectious enthusiasm for the sport. And I think Romo's got both of those things. And I take no great pleasure in that, praising a former Dallas Cowboys quarterback, but credit where credit's due.
I'm with you on all counts. One of the prop bets for the Super Bowl is, will Tony Romo correctly predict an offensive play? Minus 200, yes. Plus 150, no.
It's a lot of credit to Romo in my mind, Ironhead, that him correctly predicting a play is favored. But still, the odds of that are not great. I think you got to roll with no. Right? You got to take the dog there.
I think for the money involved, yeah. I mean, why not? Right? Like that seems like what you. But my guess is he will. At some point, he's going to get a play right because he does have a knack for it. I mean, he really does.
Yeah.
For picking up on, all right, this is what this team likes to do in this situation, and kind of seeing how a game is playing out as well. This is one of my more favorite ones, actually, in the entire list here. But what will be said first by Tony Romo? Read, there's 5 options. Read, penetration, blitz, A-gap, or trick play. That is just a great list of words that Tony Romo likely will say all of them at some point during the game, right? You have to try to think in your mind, okay, is there going to be a problem with the A gap or a great play in the A gap that Tony's going to be looking there? Is there going to be, which team gets penetration first? Does it happen on which play? I mean, it's just a great list. Tony Romo, what will he say first? Read, penetration, blitz, A gap, or trick play?
Yeah, I mean, the odds are worst on read, and I think that's right. That's the most likely that you're going to hear. it would be fun, right, to just hope that someone's going to pull some kind of,
On the
early
opening
rabbit out of
play.
their hat and blow everything up and trick play, lapse the field. But that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Blitz is right in the middle of the pack. You know what? I think that's where I'd put my money. I'd go blitz.
This is a good one, too. What will be mentioned first? Tom Brady's 10th Super Bowl or Tom Brady's age? Because they're kind of going hand in hand in the pre-Super Bowl coverage, right? This is a 43-year-old Tom Brady, and this will be his 10th Super Bowl. Well, what gets mentioned first? Do you say Tom Brady in his 10th Super Bowl at the age of 43, or do you say Tom Brady at the age of 43?
No.
They're mentioned in the same sentence, but I don't know which one comes first.
Look, you're a veteran broadcaster, Ironhead. You know the cadence. It's Tom Brady at the age of 43 playing in his 10th Super Bowl. So it's the age first.
But here's the thing. It's minus 140 on the 10th Super Bowl being mentioned first and plus 100 on 43 being mentioned first.
Oh, hammer the age.
So
hammer the age.
So,
absolutely.
I think with that, you have to play the the age card there.
By the way, this is all for fun. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And, we are not giving any kind of official legal or financial advice here.
And we're neither encouraging nor discouraging you from next time you visit Happy Valley, going to the casino. That'll be
correct.
Let's see. What are again? There are a ton of these prop bets. This is a good one. What will be said first? Groin or hamstring? You can get minus 120 on each of those, by the way. Groin or hamstring? What's mentioned first in the Super Bowl broadcast?
Now, see, if I were really going to do this for real, I would be studying both rosters and the injury histories of everybody on both 52-man rosters. I'd be figuring out who was going to play more, who was most likely to aggravate an old injury. Geez, I don't know. Hamstring, I guess. I don't think anybody's falling all over themselves to say the word groin on national TV.
That's why I'm kind of leaning hamstring myself.
Which one pays better? Which is the bigger payout?
They're the same. That was the thing. They're both minus. Let me go get it again. Minus 150, I think it was.
Well, the hell, you might as well just pick groin for the comedic value.
Minus 120 on both. Yeah, I don't. That's interesting that they're the same. The same spread. Let's see. We've got Andy Reid's mask design. Chiefs branded logo at minus 2,000. I don't know. Is it not mandated by the league that you have to do the team? I don't know.
I can't imagine that it's not, given how rigid they are with the branded apparel requirements.
Yeah, the other options are a single color or no logo plus 350 or Hawaiian themed at plus 7,000. Which, I mean, you would hope to see. The Hawaiian theme would be just wonderful to see.
Now, a good one to couple with that would be right side up or upside down.
Oh, that would be a good one.
Definitely seen plenty of the upside down logo masks over the course of the playoffs. That would be a good one.
That would be a good one. Which coach will be the first to have his nostrils seen on television? Andy Reid, the heavy favorite here at no, actually I stand corrected. Bruce Arians is minus 200 and Andy Reid plus 150. Oh, I'd take Reid in a heartbeat.
They're not letting Andy do the face shield, I guess. You know,
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
pursuing it. And Andy was a big fan of the face shield early in
He
the season.
was.
And I think somebody gave him a talking to, and they're like, no, you got to do the mask.
This is not the way this is going to play out. Not on
Yeah.
our
So I don't think the face shield's happening in the Super Bowl for Andy. I think I'd go Arians on that one. He's a fiery dude. He's going to pull that mask down to scream at somebody and not put it back on in like the first 10 seconds after kickoff. So yeah, I'm going Arians.
Those are some of the prop bets. There are, again, all kinds of things with Queen Latifah and the length of the right. You can bet on the length of the national anthem, and it's pretty amazing all the different things that you can bet on surrounding the Super Bowl and its coverage.
By the way, I've got some inside information that Mike the Mailman took a bath last year on the national anthem length.
Oh man, you hate to see that happen.
Absolutely. That was the trends to treasure let him down on that one.
That's disappointing. I feel for him, man.
You know, sometimes when you play, you lose, Ironhead. What are you going to do?
It's the nature of the game.
Indeed.
What are your thoughts on the game itself, Booch? How do you think? I'll give you my thoughts just so you know to go bet the other way and do so quickly. But how do you think this thing plays out on Sunday?
Ed, I think the Chiefs are going to win, and I think that it's going to be a boring fourth quarter.
Do you?
I do. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think we're going to watch the fourth quarter of that game pretty confident that Andy Reid's getting that second ring. And to me, it's all about the playmaking ability of Patrick Mahomes. Last year, it took that team maybe a little while to find its confidence. And then once they did, they've been essentially rolling ever since. That guy doesn't lose close games, as has been discussed a lot.
Yeah.
And the one thing that really stuck out to me watching the AFC Championship game is that when you think of KC, you think of offense, right? You know, you think of Hill and Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy Reid's, crazy play designs and play calling acumen. Their defense quietly is really clicking on all cylinders right now. Their ability to get to Josh Allen and disrupt everything the Bills, who've been pretty good on offense all year, everything they were trying to do offensively. I watched that and I thought the one way you get to Tom Brady is you pressure him and you hit him. And I just think KC defensively is going to be able to make him uncomfortable. And on the other side of the ball, I don't know who can stop KC. I don't think for as relatively well as Tampa Bay has played on defense, and I think they're clicking on all cylinders too, I just don't know that anybody stops Mahomes. That's a lazy take, but that's just where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you, unfortunately, because I really would love to take Tampa, and I'd love to see it. And I think it's within the realm of possibility, right? I mean, this isn't going to be a crazy, wow, I can't believe how in the world did that happen? Tampa won?
Right.
I do think Kansas City is just a better team. There's a couple of things. The biggest question mark with Kansas City is the offensive line and the injuries. But again, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are able to run an offense that can significantly mitigate the concerns and issues with that offensive line. And I think the guys they have, these aren't this isn't a JV roster that they're putting together, and they've had the issues here for a bit. So I think that they're going to be fine there. I really do, and I think Mahomes, again, with his ability to run, with his ability to get the ball off quickly if he needs to, I just don't think that is going to be nearly the issue that some are making it out to be heading into the game. The other thing, what do we talk about with almost every game period, but every big game, right? It comes down to turnovers and field position. Well,
yeah.
Which team and coaching staff do you trust more and quarterback for that matter at this point in their careers Do you trust more? Now, again, could Kansas City have a day where they fumble the ball away a couple of times and Mahomes throws a couple of picks? Absolutely. That is certainly within the realm of possibility. But you're asking me going into the game. I just watched Tom Brady throw 3 picks in the second half of his most recent outing. And, this defense to me is very comparable, if not better, than what he was facing in the NFC championship game. So I think it's going to be a good game. I do think it'll be in doubt in the fourth quarter. But I just think Kansas City, as great as Brady is, I don't think he's the better quarterback on the field this day. And I don't think there's enough areas where Tampa has a clear advantage over Kansas City to make up for the difference there in quarterback play at this point of their careers. And again, could Brady pull out, one of those 25 for 28 type of performances? Of course. Again, I don't think it's crazy to think that Tampa will win the game, and I'm not going to be at all shocked if we're sitting here on Tuesday talking about the Buccaneers having been the Super Bowl champions. But I think Kansas City is rightfully favored in this game. I think the Chiefs have the better overall roster, and I think they have the better quarterback at this stage of their respective careers. And for those reasons, I just think Kansas City ultimately gets the job done here on Sunday. So,
I got a bold prediction and a final thought, Ironhead. My bold prediction is that by Monday morning, damn near everyone in America will be sick forever of the phrase passing of the torch. That's my prediction. My final thought is, numbers right up there on the screen. If you're in the State College area, Quaker Steak and Lube is absolutely an excellent place to call ahead and get your wing order for Sunday night. That's what I'm doing for my food for the Super Bowl. And we've got a bunch of great deals going on. If you mention the Goon Ironhead show, you get 20% off. I don't know why you wouldn't do it, frankly. But wings, football, those two things go together. No better place to get them in the Nittany Valley than State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. Support the show, support local business, give them a call, get yourself some wings. And no matter who wins, you'll have something go right for you Sunday night as we discuss the passing of the torch.
Yes. Why
you're going to hear that phrase so many times. It's going to be terrible.
Yeah, I suspect
passing of the
torch about that. Why would you not call Quaker Steak and Lube though and get your wings and mention the Goon and Ironhead show? You'd have to be stupid not to do it. And you're not stupid, are you? Speaking of stupid, Goon and Ironhead, we'll be back next Tuesday to talk about the Super Bowl and much, much more. Until then, be safe and be good. Don't be stupid.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Introducing the new dusted Ghost Pepper at Quaker Steak and Lube. 11,700 SHUs of fire dusted on award-winning wings. Try it, or are you afraid of the heat?
Who wants to turn $20 into $500? Support our local restaurants this holiday season. Eat in or dine out, from French fries to lobster. Bring us your receipt and we'll take $500 off your final price. Here's how simple this is. Bring us a receipt, buy a car from us in the month of December, and we'll take $500 off your final price. Merry Christmas from Blaise Alexander Hyundai Mazda. Support your local restaurants and servers. And remember, tell them Johnny sent you.